So before I start this video, I just want to mention that the Middle Ages were one of the strangest times in history. I mean, a lot of strange things happened and came out of the Middle Ages. Like this story that I have for you today. I mean, this story is history, but it's a different kind of history. Let's call it odd history, if you will, because this story is very odd to say the least. Welcome to Vlogs of History. How would you react if I told you that in the Middle Ages there was a town in which you had about 400 people just dancing in the town square? You would probably tell me that there was some sort of celebration or a festival, or they must have had some reason for dancing. And to that I would tell you that, well, you're probably right. But what if I told you that these people were dancing day and night non-stop without really taking any breaks? You'd probably tell me that maybe there was a ritual or something. I mean, this was the Middle Ages, anything really goes. And to that I would tell you that, well, fair enough, you got an argument there. But what if I told you that these people were dancing non-stop day and night until they all collapsed and died? Well, then I'm not so sure you'd believe me anymore. You'd probably think I was lying or making this stuff up. Trust me, I'm not lying, and I'm certainly not making this stuff up. Here's why. So we're going back to the year 1518 in a town called Strasbourg, located in present-day France. I mean, this was a normal town, and there was nothing really unusual about it. I mean, besides the occasional exorcism and witch hunt, which of course were normal things during the Middle Ages. Life was normal in the town. I mean, people got up, went to work, came back home, took care of their families, and socialized here and there. I mean, there was nothing really unusual. Just picture what you would think a medieval town would look like, and that's pretty much what Strasbourg was. At least until 1518, where it became one of the strangest towns in history. So what happened was that on a normal day of July in 1518, a woman just went to the town square and started dancing for no apparent reason. I mean, she had no music, she had nothing. She was just, well, dancing. She was alone and she was literally just dancing by herself. People would look at her weirdly and ask questions as to why she was dancing, but she didn't really care, nor did she interact with anybody. That night when people got home for work, she was still dancing. The following morning, she was there as well, and this went on for a week. Now, if you're thinking, hey, a week isn't that long, well, let me tell you that that's not where the story ends. It's actually where the story begins. After that 1 week, she was joined by about 30 more people dancing. By the end of the month, there was about 400 people dancing in the town square, and you had musicians playing music non-stop, literally 24/7, and you also had crowds cheering them on to keep on dancing. Now, this went on until one by one, they all collapsed and died, either from exhaustion, heart attacks, or whatever else you might get if you're dancing for a month straight without really taking any breaks. After that, the bodies were cleaned and the town returned to normal. So now let me guess your thoughts. Do you think I'm lying? Are you confused? Do you think I'm making this stuff up? Or is this just some sort of urban legend? Well, trust me, this really happened, and I'm not lying like I mentioned before. So let me tell you what happened. Well, I'm gonna try to tell you what happened because, to be honest with you, we don't really know what happened. I mean, we don't know why these people were dancing. The only thing that we do know for sure was that it actually happened. Like last week's video, this has been heavily documented, and we have proof that this really happened. And this wasn't the only case either. I mean, there had been some before it, but this was really the biggest one and the most well documented. So we'll focus on this one for now. So what happened? Why were these people dancing? Well, some people say that this was a secret ritual organized by a cult, because rituals to other gods were frowned upon, if not banned in some places, and if you disguised it as a dancing mania, well, you could do it in public without really getting attacked for it. Some people argued that this might have been a fungus or something that contaminated the water, which caused the people to become delusional and start dancing for no reason. Other people said that this might be just a social phenomenon and that there was no real reason why these people were dancing. They were just dancing because, well, they were dancing. But then how do you explain the fact that they all danced until they collapsed and died? It makes no sense. Unfortunately, we don't really know what happened, and I don't think we can know. I mean, besides this outbreak and the ones before it, the dancing mania really just disappeared and never showed up again. I mean, it's hard to tell what happened or why these people were dancing. What was even weirder in the 1518 case was that the people seemed to be oblivious to their environment and what was around them, at least at some times, because there were other times where they tried to get people to dance, and when those people refused, they would become increasingly aggressive and even sometimes violent. And to top it all off, they had an extreme sensitivity to the color red. I mean, just seeing the color red or hearing anything about the color red could cause them to become extremely violent. It was very strange. At one point, it was believed that they had a disease called hot blood, in which the body's natural reaction was to dance. So they believed that the more you dance, the more chances you have of being cured. That's why they encourage dancing, and that's why we have the musicians playing 24/7. They were literally hired to play 24/7 so the dancers could have something to dance to. Now, the mania disappeared as quickly as it appeared. Just as you had some people dancing for no reason, after they all died and the bodies were cleaned up, the town returned to normal like nothing had happened, and it could be years before another outbreak would show up somewhere else. And that outbreak would have no link to the one that just happened. I mean, how could it? It was just people dancing. How can you really link the two? I mean, we don't even know the reason why these people were dancing. Now, besides the poisoning and the ritual theories that I mentioned, some people thought these people were possessed by demons, so they naturally proceeded to exorcise and even burn some people, which again were normal things in the Middle Ages. But now I want to pass this question on to you guys. What do you think happened? Why do you think these people were dancing? I mean, at this point, anything goes. We don't really know what happened. If you have anything, leave a comment. I'll read it, and well, maybe we can figure something out. With that being said, I hope that you've enjoyed this episode and that you've learned something. So thanks for watching. Alright, so that was it for this week's episode of Vlogs of History. I really do hope that you've enjoyed this episode and that you've learned something new. And if you did, please leave a like, share it to a friend, and subscribe to be notified when the next episode comes out. Remember that these episodes come out every single Monday, and if you missed the previous one, there's a link on your screen. If not, there's a link in the description. Make sure to check it out. It's very interesting. As always, I'm your host, Darius Cause, and you can follow me on social media. I'm very active. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will see you all next week.